we've done all this. We added the file, and we added the property. So the next part to move on to, and we are dragging behind. The setup for this always takes a lot longer than I expect. Modifying XSL transforms is the next thing. There is a lot to learning about XSL. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna dress it up. It is there's some complexity, but if you get past that and start to use it, it's really, really very powerful. You can do a lot of things, and if you're going to be doing anything for your publications department, trying to make your work with the DITA and produce output, you're probably eventually going to need to learn XSL or have somebody in your department who knows XSL. With XSL, we can do a large number of things, and some of the things we can do, there are some stub templates in the DITA Open Toolkit. So these are templates that are set out. It separates things out. Again, elegance allows us to go in, make modifications, and change things. We can do additional header and footer modifications with these. But the really good thing with this is instead of just being boilerplate, you can actually base the content in your header or your footers on the actual document you're processing. In the XSL, you can choose to use different HTML tags. Say you you want an HR in the output, or somebody uses HR in the output right now, and you say, no, I really want to use a div with a border top instead, because that's much more forward-looking in CSS and all that. So you can change that in the XSL. You could change the order of things, or you could change the format of the output. We've had customers who, while DITA, in the DITA tasks, they say things must be in this order. The customer said, no, but in our output, we want things to be in this order. So we've gone into the XSL and changed things around so that things come out in a different order. We can change the format of the output using XSL. You may have information that comes in the XML files that is it's just tagged in the XML, not necessarily in a table, but if you think it would be far better presented as a table in your XSL, you can transform that data into a table if you so choose. You can extend or add new capabilities to things, as we'll see. The example we're going to show is we're going to actually add the ability to sort bulleted lists. And at the far end, the specialization allows you to do a lot of things in XSL. So the DITA Open Toolkit stub templates, as I say, they're predefined areas within the transforms that allow you to go in and make fairly simple modifications. And so they're a good place to get our feet wet. So the stub templates, if you notice in the DITA Open Toolkit, I showed you there's the XSL folder. Within the XSL folder, there's an XSL HTML folder, and in there you will find DITA to HTML impl.xsl. This is the file that does most of the grunt work of converting your files from XML into HTML. And so let's go here and let's open that file. Now, we need to find gen user. So if we search for gen user, you'll actually find all these stub templates. And here, the next slide lists what some of these do. So actually lists all of them. So there's head, header, and footer. So these are just like the header, and footer boilerplate template files that we brought in earlier. We can also create a side talk, so we can create a list of subordinate topics. This is sometimes called a half title. We can here, this is a good place for including the JavaScripts we may want to have in our document. If we don't have JavaScripts that are based actually in the actual content, you can use this for doing that. Again, gen user styles, this is where we put in the links to our CSS files. We can also handle links to external information. Now this one's asterisked because for all the rest of these, there's actually a place within the DITA Open Toolkit where these stub templates are invoked. This is the only one where there actually isn't an invocation of the stub template, so you have to go in and add that yourself. And then there's a prefix for the topic title, and so if you're going to number topics, whoops, I always do that. If you're going to number topics, you can go in here and use this stub to figure out from the structure of your XML file where are how many head levels I am, and so you can then put in a number that identifies this is section 1.5.3. So modifying the stub templates, what we want to do is we want to find a template that matches gen user header, and then we will add in some XSL code. And this very simple XSL, it does two things. It first puts out a message to our output stream because that enables us to verify that we're actually seeing the change that we wanted. And then it outputs into our head a paragraph using the class myTitle, and then it says, this is and here we use a little bit of XSL that says, tell me the name of the current object that we're processing. So in this case, it's going to, for a task topic, it's going to say this is a task. If we're in a concept topic, it's going to say this is a concept. So let's go ahead and make this modification. So we want to modify gen user header. And you notice here there's a template for gen user header and then apply templates. And actually this is what we want to modify. And if we were being elegant, if we were being nice, what we'd actually do is copy this template off to our own files and make our changes there rather than making them in the raw files. But what we're going to do is just add in our text. And again, I'm just going to copy this from off screen. So now we have our message, we have our paragraph, and that's really all we need to do. So we can go in here and use the Open Toolkit, generate our output. The first two entries in the right column reversed. They might have been. So here we have our output. Let's refresh this. And so now we have at the top of our output, we now have a header that was generated dynamically, and so we're now saying this is a task. So here we're actually using some XSL in our output. Now, I need to ask, I am running a little bit over. Is everyone okay hanging on the phone for a bit? You can just respond in the chat window if you want, and just let me know if it's okay if we go on just a little bit longer, because I'd like to show you at least doing the sorting and maybe just a little bit about the specialization. Okay, wonderful. Glad you're all also willing. All right. So here we have our stub templates. So now, before we move on a little bit, this is nice. The stub templates are nice because everything's set up for you. There's the XSL that handles when it reaches the point of processing your document and outputting a header. It does the correct invocation and just calls that stub template. But for further work in XSL, we're actually going to have to know how do we find where the XSL processes things. So if you have any basic understanding of XSL,